Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the final word. Everton 1 at West Ham United 0. 3 points. It's been a while. Crystal Palace. Wow. It's been a while. It's been a while. But we got there. We got there together. We got there together.
We did.
And it was just nice, wasn't it? Just nice to see Everton win a game of football.
It was lovely. One thing just perturbed me why there isn't a bit more space between the dash and the north. It's just out the corner of my eyes, bugging me. We did it. Listen, it feels great to get off the mark with that victory. Been building, I think, all season. I think the manager's been putting stuff in place. I think we saw a positive reaction against Chelsea on day one. We saw some building blocks in place, but obviously we had a couple of bad injuries that day as well, which knocked us. But early on, no striker, but I think we could all see, the fans could all see something getting better and better. And that probably wasn't evident to people on the outside, that there's been a steeliness about us. And it was having a lack of a centre forward. But in this game, it showed you that if you have got a centre forward who's natural in that position, you can get goals from anywhere really, and it can turn what looked like a possible draw into 3 points, and that's what we've missed. But thankfully we're up and running now.
Yeah, I mean, as you said there, it's just a case of turning defeats into draws and draws into wins, and I think that's where we've come, isn't it? And I think, going into international break, we're all a lot more buoyed by it, and it just takes the pressure off, doesn't it? Because we've seen it in the last 4 or 5 games, just that nice little, we're just building. Just feels like the team was coming together to get the win. Just rounds it off. It takes any undue pressure from the outside, which had been there still oddly. Nah, listen, in the summer, I could understand why that pressure was there. Things were moving really slowly, and pre-season wasn't great at first, and we ain't getting the players in, but obviously since the season started and as we've moved past those first couple of games, things have started to change, and obviously the formation's changed, and having having a defence which is like literally completely different from day one, is been weird, but obviously it's so much better, and having a goal scorer now and having Dominic Calvert-Lewin available for the next game will make a massive difference, and the win, I think, has just allows us to have, or certainly set up, this next set of games, which obviously is 5 or 6 weeks or whatever it is of just solid games before we go into the 6-week break. So I think just getting that was really important. Takes the pressure off Southampton game and means we can go in there. The last game we won, we're on a decent little run, and we're moving in the right direction as a team and as a club, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean that's certainly how it feels at the moment. It's 6 games unbeaten now in all competitions. 5 Premier League games unbeaten, 2 back-to-back clean sheets, and 2 difficult games. Liverpool obviously is always going to be a difficult game, and West Ham are a tough side to play against. So to be able to get clean sheets in those games, and one of them we didn't have our number 1 goalie in, has been important, and it helps you climb up that table. We're up to 13th. We know how important it is to feel like you're moving in the right direction. I don't think any Evertonians were putting pressure on the manager, but there was outside influences or people outside the club certainly who were trying to whip up this thing of he's playing Lampard's under pressure and things it's not going well at Goodison and all that. And it hasn't been like that at all. It's about building, and we've got better, and we've got the players in. In an ideal world, those players come in before pre-season, or certainly in the very first part of pre-season, and that wasn't the case, and we had to wait. But they're in now, the window's shut for us bringing players in. We might still chase a couple and get some wages back on them ready for January, but they know what they wanted. We're a little bit short up front, we know that, but that's for the next window. But getting Dom back, like you just said, will be a big help. Great to see Maupay off the mark, and I think everyone just felt the relief of that. In fact, this is what the manager said about it after the game.
Yeah, really important, because obvious facts, but you play well in lots of ways and don't get what you feel you deserve. It still leaves the table not looking so great. So I think for the confidence of the group, to see the work that they're doing, the spirit that they've got can bring results in terms of wins. So we've started to fix some things. We're harder to beat. We don't concede so much. You saw by having Neal in the team today what that striker element can give you. So I think it's great for the confidence, particularly going into the break, because just for good feeling of players and club alike.
So there you go, Frank's thoughts, and again, it's just a weird. Obviously it was a weird occasion, wasn't it? The game and stuff, very, very different to what we've been used to. But obviously brought Garner in for the game, which I think was what we were all expecting. Dominic Calvert-Lewin didn't make it onto the bench. Again, managers probably didn't really give a clear, didn't really give a clear idea why, but it was sort of, well, we've got 2 weeks now. We can be 100% sure in the next game that he'll be fine, and so. But it was nice to see us start with pretty much the same team we started the derby with, bar obviously an upgrade of having Garner in the team, and having a team now where you look at it and think that's pretty much our starting 11. Add Dominic Calvert-Lewin to it. The bench looks so much stronger with the Corey being back, James Garner on the bench, Tom Davis and others, on there as well. So it was important that we had that. Obviously, we didn't have Jordan Pickford, but to have that continuity again, certainly in the defence as well, so important.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we want, don't we? We need a spell where the back four's the back four and they just play together, and we're seeing the benefits that they've played together now the last few games. You're seeing, the tightness of it. I think it's let 6 goals in 7 games. Like I just said, back-to-back clean sheets in the last couple of games. That's massively important. And that's with Pickford in one game and Begovic in the other. So that's been a big thing. I mean, the more of that we can get, the better. Yes, having Dominic Calvert-Lewin back in the squad will make it even stronger. We saw Decore, he was on the bench and he came on, so that was good to have him back. And that is, you are getting towards the strongest outfield players there. I said on my match reaction that Tom Davis could consider himself a little bit unlucky. Someone took that as me calling for Tom Davis to play, which was mad. But Garner's the first choice, isn't he? We know he just does. Tom Davis this season has done a good job, but he's not Idrissa Gana Gay, and that's the thing. And we saw not only does Gay put out fires, he's so comfortable in possession as well, and he was key again.
Well, let's just have a look at his numbers while we're talking about him.
Yeah, so 75 touches at 90% passing accuracy, completed 100% of his long balls, 3 out of 3, won 6 of his 7 duels, and had 3 interceptions within that as well. And it's weird, Garner. It's weird because he's just come back like he'd never been away. It's mad. It's great to have him back. You do look and go, oh, I see, they've just never gone anywhere. But maybe we're getting more appreciation of him because he is back. But just in that midfield and he just knows the role, doesn't he? And we replaced Garner with Garner.
Yeah, it wasn't a great first half. Let's be honest.
No,
it was 2 teams who didn't want to give up anything. You could see that. I mean, it's funny because we look like a Moyes team at the moment. Just trying to get the basics right. Trying to be defensively solid, strong in midfield. And the 2 teams very much in the first half cancelled each other out. It was sloppy as well. There was a lot of not misplaced passes as such. Just the teams just not connecting properly. Wrong decisions, and both teams were doing that. A lot of balls into space where the players weren't running for it and things like that. And you could see at times we had the ball, and in front of you could see they had effectively 5 at the back and then 4 in front of that. Yeah. And it was looking to try and find those gaps. And obviously early on, you don't want to go away from the plan. You don't want to open up. You don't want to make a run that might expose you on the counter-attack. So it was very cagey. There wasn't that much in it. They, you know, them coming towards, shooting towards the Gladys. They had that one moment where Michalenko made a bit of a mess of with Bowen. Got the wrong, he got the wrong side. It reminded me of something.
No, but
it reminded me of a few weeks ago when at the other end Patterson had done it, didn't he? The same sort of thing. He thought the ball was going to bounce out, but it didn't. And Bowen put a decent ball in, but Connor Cody got there first in front of Antonio. And to be fair, if Cody hadn't got there, Antonio had a tapping. It was brilliant defending from Cody to make sure it went the right side of the post to go out for a corner. And to be honest, apart from that, I don't really remember them having too much other than they had a lot of corners and things were bouncing around.
Corners,
Things were bouncing around a lot, but I don't remember them having actual too much or Begovic having to make saves. Although at times under a couple of the corners he got under them and stuff. But apart from that one chance, which really was just as I said, was just an error by Michalenko. They didn't really do much at all, and we didn't do too much at the other end either. We huffed and puffed, but the front three just couldn't get the connection there. And Onana wasn't quite on it, and it wasn't really clicking for either side.
No, it was a poor game really in the first half. I think both teams were better up until the final third, and then it fell apart. You know, they had I think Zuma had a header at goal, which Begovic caught. It wasn't even, it was like a back pass which he collected. And we had an Onana header at the other end off a corner which he headed over. Other than that, we fizzed 2 balls across the box, I think. Gray put a good ball in and no one was in there. Waist height like the way across from Patterson. Done one from the other side and no one was in there, and that was really it. From Michalenko tried to kick one up the ground in the first half with a shot.
He did.
And they had a few shots themselves from miles out that got blocked and stuff. So there was nothing, and there was a lack of quality in terms of creativity. I think both teams were comfortable defending. Second half, we had to come out and step it up a little bit. But they started the first 2 or 3 minutes of the second half. They were brighter than us. They had a couple that fizzed across the box. And then we broke and got the all-important goal.
Yeah, which... again, the goal itself, I think, just came down from Iwobi and his movement, really, didn't he? He gets the first ball, fires it wide, gets it back, moving through the lines, what we don't see enough of, and then gets it into Maupay.
Well, that's it, isn't it? We'll have a look at we've got the stills for it here. So where we are, if Iwobi's laid it off out to Gray, and this run takes him into that area where the arrow is, and by sprinting away from his marker, Gray's got a simple pass, we take it on. Iwobi picks the ball up, and then Maupay, you can see just getting himself in between the 2 centre-backs there. That's really the only pass on unless Iwobi takes it himself. We knock it on again, got Maupay circled here, and like I said, he's in between the 2 West Ham players there, edge of the box. Iwobi plays that ball into him. It's a good first touch. It takes it away from, he drags it away from him actually, and as it sits up, the next one you can see from behind, he's just got to hit where that arrow is. He hits it there. Fabianski can't really see it. And if he connects with it, like he does, it's in the back of the net. And off we go. And a good picture there of the players celebrating in front of the crowd. And it was that little moment of quality from Iwobi. It's that ability to knock it and go. And that's when he's in there. That's what he has to do. Yeah. He's got to, because Onana has got that ability, but if Garner's sitting, those 2 do have to join in, because Maupay's not the big target man's not going to knock people about. Gray and Gordon, we know, don't get you enough goals, so it is their responsibility to get into the box. But by doing that, Iwobi and opening the play up, that's where he comes into his own.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I think that's the first goal we've scored this season that has come through the centre. Bar, I suppose the goal from Gray against Forest, which obviously came from the long ball. Yeah. But that's the first time I think this season that we've done that, because a lot of our goals just come from wide areas, don't they? Whether it's crossing or whether it's out to in balls like against Leeds and Leeds. We don't play enough of football like that. We don't go through the middle of the park enough. There's not as many give and goes and using. It's something, well, we've been brilliant this season, we know we've been brilliant. But we don't do that enough. We don't break through the lines enough. It's not something that I've called, because we've played with 2 midfielders, it's not something we've done. So it was really nice to see us getting a goal like that. You know, it was really nice to see us getting a goal. But it was really nice to see us get a goal like that in hindsight, just something a little bit different and something to build on. Sometimes a little bit different because you become, last season, I think, you know, we started well last season, but I think we fell away because we were so predictable. Teams after the 6 or 7 games decent start, teams just knew how to play against us, and if we dropped off and we lost players and our level dropped off.
We didn't try to change the way.
We didn't change the way we played, so everyone knew you just like stop the cross, or even if they let the cross go in, because there's no Dominic Calvert-Lewin and there was no Richarlison. Where you know, at least with 3 in the middle and having more possession, you can find other ways to play, and you're not reliant on 2 wingers or your full-backs, and having that extra man in midfield now means that play can go through the gears. So it was really nice to see us get a goal like that.
You've got to mix it up, haven't you? Because like you said, otherwise it's so easy to plan against. If it's just these put it wide and cross it, you know, you either stop the cross or you make sure your centre-backs deal with the cross. And if you can mix it up and make people have to think, that's how you get those moments in the game where the spaces, because they had been really good at blocking off passing lanes, hadn't they? Really, by blocking it out. And in that instance, because of Iwobi's knocked it and been prepared to follow his run, he's got it back, and then Maupay's on, he's fired it into Maupay's nice touch, it sat up.
Do you think it was a nice touch, or do you think
he turns away from it though? Okay. So I'm not saying he intended to turn away and let it sit up. He intended to take the ball into his body. It was a nice touch that it was cushioned. It obviously sat up, and he's hit across the ball really well, and it's beyond, the keeper's not expecting it, and he's caught it well, it's behind, the keeper's got no chance, and it was nice to see Everton score a goal from outside the box. And, you know, just talking about when you're saying the likes of Onana's breaking or Iwobi breaking, and they weren't doing that, they've got the insurance now behind them, they know that, and don't forget, this is only the 2nd game Guy's been involved in. You know, we came on against Liverpool after an hour. So we had half an hour there. Saturday was his first full 90, and he's able to marshal it. Once they know that neither of them have ever played with him before, so they know that he's the insurance behind him, and he's going to mop it up for them. They can start going, right, we can actually join in. And it was, you're right, it was good to see. And the mad thing about it was, after that, West Ham had a chance immediately. Antonio had a straight from the kick-off almost. It is that thing if you've got the goal, and whereas we hadn't given any kind of room, all of a sudden they were a little bit bright for 15 minutes after that goal, and we had to, we did have to get back into the game.
We had a couple of moments after the goal. We had the cross from Gray that flashed right across. And
well, we've got that as well. Let's have a look at that. This is the one where we break him, and it comes out to Gray, and he faces up. Kufal takes him on the outside, and this is what, you know, I think Anthony Gordon needs to do more of, and certainly Dwight McNeil when he's in there. But Gray is getting on the outside, and there's the ball. We've got the arrow, the line where he runs, and then the ball across. And you're looking in that middle there, you've got Maupay trying to get in, Onana's there, you've got Anthony Gordon. If we take it on one, Anthony Gordon, for me, has to make that run where the arrow is. And I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to step in and step back for Gray to cut it back. But I don't, with Onana behind him, I think he should be gambling to that near post. You've got Maupay in the middle. And then on the next one, we see Gray's firing across. Gordon, look, now have circled him. So he stepped back into that, but he's got bodies around him, whereas if he attacks the near post, you've got Maupay in there as well. It's a little touch, it's a goal. Maupay, for me, has got to throw himself at this cross, and he doesn't. He just runs in. If he throws himself at it, he'd tap that in from a yard out. Gray fizzes it across, and it goes right the way across and out. And it was those moments where you're looking as that goes in. If Maupay does gamble, you tap him from a yard out. You know, and we've got to, that's the kind of goals Dom was getting, and we've got to make sure when our wingers got it, we have 2 bodies in. Onana's coming in, Michalenko's in there as well, and Patterson's on the edge of the box. We've got to make sure we're getting them bodies in right on the goalie where it can take a little touch. Because we'd had one earlier on with Michalenko where it was a good move and he cut it across, and they've had to dive in at the near post and convert it behind for a corner. They divert it behind for a corner. So if we can get more of that kind of play going, and we will get more goals. And you know, we'd have got a second there, it'd have been a lot more comfortable than what it was.
Yeah, I think both it's understanding, isn't it? It's understanding what players are going to do and whether you can gamble on it. But you know, there's enough players there where surely someone, even if it's Patterson coming in late, getting the old Seamus Coleman tapping, you know what I mean? It's
the Raheem Sterling special.
Yeah, it's what like, you know, that can be the difference between 3 points and, you know, or a draw or whatever, or a comfortable last 20, 30 minutes. You know, that's something players have got to start doing. The only player we've seen do that recently is Conor Cody. So it you know, it is something, and it's frustrating because you know he's going to do it. You know he's going to do that. You know, I know at times you don't know what he's going to do, but that
he does do that. Well, that's the second time he did it in the game.
Yeah, so you've got to be. I don't know what you do. You're almost looking for signals within the player himself of what you watch him enough in training to get an idea of what he's going to do, and then react from that. You know, I don't know whether because he can go outside or inside. I mean, there was one obviously later on where he went outside, and I thought it was the wrong decision. It was a good tackle. It fell to Iwobi in the last minute, I think, and he just put it over. I suppose you're looking for the body language, aren't you, to see? But it's something that like Dom. It's funny enough when Dom did it in Carlo Ancelotti's full season, and people are like, "Oh, it's just a tapping, mate." It's like, yeah, thanks. That's how you get. That's what you get 15 to 20 goals.
That's how you win games. I mean, Gray had one about 2 or 3 minutes before the goal where he went on a run and he sized it up and bent it, and Fabianski caught it. Just didn't get enough whip on it. But the next thing, when he goes like that and faces the player up and goes on, you gamble for him to fire it across. You throw your leg out. You've got yourself a tapping. Got to get people running in, and then Onana can just come into that space. And if it does get cut back, he's got a tapping. So they'll come, because that's passages of play. That's combination play. That's knowing, like you said, what he's going to do. He's going on the outside. We have to get 2 men in that 6-yard box, maybe 3 if Patterson's coming around the back. Patterson's on the edge of the box to cover any knockdowns. Whether he should be gambling back post, I don't know. That's up to the manager, obviously. But I imagine Iwobi wasn't in the picture, and Garner, really, so they would have been mopping up anything edge of the box. So if we get more plays, and you look at the likes of, and I am talking about the very best here, but you're looking at the likes of Manchester City, when they're putting balls like that in, there's 5 in there, 6 of them in there. So, you know, if the best are doing it, try to emulate that. You mightn't be as good as them at doing it, but when you get those moments where your wingers firing balls across the 6-yard box, get 2 or 3 bodies, and you're absolutely right. Conor Cody gambled on it the other week, and all right, on that occasion it didn't work, but you know, other times you will get it. So that was one of the rare moments, to be fair, that we could have actually just killed that game off earlier. But you know, we did have to ride our luck a little bit as well when they hit the post. Yeah,
I mean, the one they hit the post on, it was we were, I don't know whether
we were messing
around the midfield.
Poor play from Ghana, to be fair.
And the lads hit a great strike, and to, you know, Begovic is just sort of not even. I think it was good goalkeeping, because I think if he dived, it would have hit him on the back and gone in.
Could have. Yeah, they covered.
Do you know what I mean? You just what? Do you think just? Because I was thinking this at the match. This is something I think that the manager, I suppose, has to start looking at in terms of the last 20 minutes of a game like that. He's got a bench full of players. He's going to have to start looking at that, isn't he, and thinking, what can I gamble with? Because at his time at Everton, you know, he's had a very tight set of players that he's relied on. We've seen that last season. Beginning of this season, you know, it's been similar. You know, the Leeds game, not making a sub at all, only making the odd sub in games. I think this is something he's going to have to start looking at and maybe trusting more of those players to make a change in the last sort of 20 minutes and start looking at the midfield going, well, you look a little bit tired now, or I need something a little bit different, so I'm gonna take you off and bring this other lad on who's going to reinvigorate the midfield, because at the moment it's... Because there was a little passage of play, like you just said, and it was around the time he hit the post where we were getting a little bit sloppy. Yeah. We were 1-0 up, getting a little bit sloppy, and we started causing a few of our own little problems. When they hit the post, it was a little sniff for them. Well, we can. That's all it takes, isn't it, to get back into a game? So I think he has to maybe over the next few weeks, especially with lots of games coming thick and fast, look at it and go, I have to trust one or two more of those players now.
Possibly, yeah. You see, I'd have took Anthony Gordon off after an hour. I thought he just wasn't in the game at all, and maybe I'd have stuck Decore on the right, just for legs and stuff, and to keep Cresswell occupied. You could have switched it and put a Wobie there, or you go with Dwight McNeil. But I think you're looking for legs there at that moment in time. Who's he got? Who else does he take? Onana off? Does Tom Davies come on? Does he give James? He's got players there. He's gonna have to come up with something, because other teams are gonna be making 4 or 5 changes regularly. I know we ended up bringing 3 on, didn't he? Brought Decore, Rondon and McNeil on, didn't he? But he has got options there on the bench, and it is a case of, do we trust him? Can they go and fit into his system? Are they going to do the jobs? We heard them after Leeds saying that we were doing our jobs well. I didn't want to break that. And sometimes you can sometimes you can make subs for subs' sake. Of course. And it wrecks your rhythm. Yeah. And you go, well, shouldn't have done that really. So I understand he's looking at it like that. And I guess it's up to the players to give him that confidence, and it's up to them to work hard and training where he goes, actually, we can get away with putting a James Garner on here in midfield and pushing a Wobie wide if you have to, or whatever, because of that flexibility that he's got with a couple of those players in midfield, he can probably push them around a little bit or take them off if they're looking jaded. Like Onana, I understand why he kept them on, but I would have understood if he'd have took him off. He kept them on for his height.
I think everyone thought he was going off anyway.
No, when he went down and thingy, but he kept them. Well, he was just killing the game, wasn't he? But he kept them on for his height off corners, because he won a few headers, and they are massive, aren't they? But I think in another game, say a game against someone like Brighton, if that was the case, I think he would have took them off there, who aren't so reliant on set plays, or they're not massive footballers like West Ham. Have got a lot of big players and they're so dangerous off set plays. I think you may see him move the squad around a little bit. So I understood why he didn't take Onana off for that reason. But I think you're right. I think at some stage he is gonna have to look and go, you know what, we have got quality on this bench, and I can trust these people to come on and do the job that we're asking them to do. And more points does that. The better you are, you go, you know, we're on a good run now.
Take a risk here or there.
Right now, we're trying to get that first win. It mightn't have been the right thing to start going, let's get James Garner on for his debut. And let's go.
Of course, You
know, so... But we will have to do it because other teams will do it. And I think we'll have to do it when these games are thick and fast, and the next kind of set aren't they? The next 6 weeks or so after the break there's a lot of games. We've got a midweek game, haven't we, at Newcastle and things like that. So we probably are going to have to rely on other players at that stage.
And I think someone like Garner, James Garner, as well, there's... Because our set pieces were poor again yesterday. It's something that needs to be looked at. You know, and
defensively, we're very good.
No, off. It's just the deliveries are terrible. I mean, Michaelenko took one and just went, not taking any more now.
He just threw his hand up, did like, I can't take them.
Yeah.
And Damari Gray hit one straight out. You're like,
that wasn't as bad as the one they hit straight
out.
No,
one into the side netting.
Yeah.
But bobbled into... I mean, Begovic made it. We went like that immediately, and Begovic come running, slid into them. Like, what are you doing? Chill.
But that could be an area where you look at someone like Garner, deliveries are good, and go, bring you on because this game we get corners or whatever. So there is that. But I mean, don't get me wrong, I wasn't like looking at the game yesterday going we need to bring more on. It was just more, I was just thinking during the game, it's just like it would be interesting going forward. He does have, it is something. Of course, the 5 subs is more something that has been called upon by, you know, the teams who are playing in Europe and who are playing in more games. It mightn't actually bother managers like Frank Lampard not, you know, because we've not seen him use that amount of sub yet, have we? I think 3 is the most, or maybe 4 and bringing a couple later on or whatever it is. But it will be interesting to see whether he does start to look at it and go, well, I can bring a player on here or bring up. I understand you bring too many on, it will disrupt the rhythm. Yeah. Players do train to play 90 minutes. It's not like it's a necessity. But it's just something that crossed my mind because you can you can change the game.
See, I think if we'd have had like another fast direct winger on the bench, Anthony Gordon would have been off earlier.
Oh yeah.
Dwight McNeil right now he's not that type of player, and we haven't got Dominic Calvert-Lewin in the middle who would benefit from his deliveries. It's it's got to be some balls to get on Neal Maupay's head, hasn't it really? So he's more of a defensive right now, a defensive sub. Whereas I think if we'd had like another attacker on the bench who's quick, and I think Anthony Gordon may have come off because he's looking at them, isn't he? And going, well, you two are ball carriers. They both him and Gray run with the ball. You might create something, even though it hasn't. Gordon. Yeah. It's mad since I'm not looking into it like this, but I've had loads of people message me and text me over, and even in the, wow, come the 2 games since the window shut, has he been terrible? Is he like, did he really want to leave and he's sulking and all that? I don't really see it like that. I just think he's still a young footballer who's up and down. So his consistency levels are up and down. I just think Sunday, yesterday, he looked knackered early on. Yeah. And I thought, sprinting and then bent over. I mean, you mentioned it on one of our lives. I was like Gerard Deulofeu, and he always looked tired, didn't he? And sometimes you wonder, is it that thing to just go to the crowd, I'm knackered, that's why I've not sprinted? Or are they genuinely blowing through the backside because of whatever a sprint took it out of them? I don't know, but I think you just got to get in the game a bit more, Anthony Gordon, because he's got the tools. We know we've seen him at like Brentford and Leeds. He was brilliant, absolutely brilliant, but
maybe it's because, I mean, that's the 2 games have been poor and have been home games. Whereas when we play away, maybe it's because we're playing more on the counter attack, and therefore there's a bit more space, for him and stuff. But yeah, he looked poor, and you're right. If you've got players who can come on, and we haven't got that at the moment. We've got a lot of midfield options, but we just don't have those attacking options. Like for like, have we? So it's.
The only other thing he could have done, like I said, he could have put the core there. It's not his natural position, but he does get forward. He's never going to run down the wing and cross it to Corey, because the one we had to kill the game late on, he broke brilliant. He done brilliantly. He broke, got it in. We had runners, and he tried some switch, and it's their playing. If he just played it wide, we were 3-on-2. So it's that decision making isn't poor. Could he have tried James Garner out there? But then you're saying on your debut, playing a different position and run up and down. You're asking people to do something that maybe you don't need them to do at that moment. So, but hopefully as we go through, and James Garner trains more and more, he might become just an option. Again, it'd be more of a safety one, but you might be able to get him on the pitch simply, like you said. He can do a job, he's a good passer of the ball. But also, if we get set plays in the last 15 minutes, 20 minutes of a game. But it's up to him to earn that right, isn't it? When Dom's back, it could be him. Maupay, who gets pushed wide. Maybe, so we've got to have, we will have more options the fitter players we get, but we'll just have to see.
Yeah, it's just something I think we'll probably have to see if it develops in the next.
Well, he did end up pushing Alex Iwobi wide. Iwobi went wide for the last 10 minutes or so when Decore came on, didn't he? He showed his versatility, went over and played on the left for the last 10 or 12, 13 minutes, and was doing all of his lovely little close control and track backs and all that. But he was brilliant again.
Yeah, it's a good game. Let's have a look at Iwobi's numbers. Touches 76, pass accuracy 82%, key passes 2, assists 1, and 2 out of his 4 dribbles. So we're successful. So yeah, he was good. He was good again. Again, he's made that position his own now, and again, seen that what we saw with the breaking through midfield, and it was nice to see something a little bit different, having a centre forward up there who, has got the ability to hit a shot like that. Really helps as well. So positive, really positive, and he's been a big part of taking this team forward as it's been growing. But again, real success story for him. Which we didn't quite, wasn't something we necessarily thought we were going to see, but it's been nice because people always thought he could play in the middle of the park, or he brought to be a number 10 or a number 8, and he's gone about it a very weird way, but he's got there in the end.
Well, when you're a player, you need managers to trust in you, don't you? We come in, I remember him having one of his best games for Everton in the number 10 against West Ham.
West Ham, yeah.
When Bernard and Sigurdsson scored in that game. He was brilliant in that game, and he should have scored himself. He missed a really good chance, but he never really got the opportunity. That was the day that Sigurdsson was left out for him, and he played in the 10, and he was brilliant. Sigurdsson come off the bench and scored a worldie.
Yeah.
But then a week later, he was still in the number 10, and then Bernard got injured about 20 minutes into the game at Brighton, and then Iwobi got shoved out to the left. Sigurdsson was back in, and that was it. He was never used again there by Silva, and he's never found his place there. But, you know, we were talking in one of the things we did before is that the coaching staff, the job they've done with him and Frank Lampard, and have got him in that position, got him working hard, got him disciplined. All of his quality comes out then through the result of his hard work. And he's just getting better and better. The crowd are singing his name, he's winning tackles on the edge. Again, at the weekend, they broke and he just come round the back and nicked it on the edge of the box. He's a bit loose with his passing sometimes, but that's because he's trying to play the risky ball. He's the one that's trying to get you in. I think he's been excellent. You know, even just additional stats to that, 34 passes in the final third. You know, 13 final third entries, 1 possession back 8 times, 3 clearances completed, 3 duels, 1, 2 shots. You know, chances created 2. They're brilliant numbers for a centre midfield player. If he can add goals, then
that'd be the big
that's
thing,
going to be a huge thing for us, because he's become a player that he's one of the first names you put on the team
exactly,
sheet.
yeah.
You know, you even call for him to be captain, which just shows the full recovery of Alex Iwobi, and he's now got 3 assists in Everton's last 4 goals. So.
But the last 20 minutes, I thought I was quite comfortable with the game. They had the odd moment, didn't they? Cornet come on and he forced
2 moments.
He forced Begovic into a decent save, but one you'd expect them to make. They caught Patterson a little bit high, and he got in there, but Patterson sort of got back.
It was what it was again, and we saw this against Leeds. It was a ball forward. They won the header, and then it was another ball, and they were in on the back, and it was us not competing well enough because we're sending the ball forward, and that's where you need Dom really, because he goes and wins that first ball, and we're on the attack. We lost it, and our midfield didn't pick it up quick enough, and it was one ball and corner he was in. But you're right, Begovic makes it.
Yeah, it makes a good save. You'd expect to save. And then the other one was, it was a couple of errors really, wasn't it? It was the ball went over Cody's head. He headed it backwards, and then I think Tarkowski clears it, but then it's put straight back in, and they both of them are out of position, yeah. And it falls to Cornet, who's just about to hit it, but Nathan Patterson just nicks in and touches the ball. And where I sit, I can't see that properly. So it looks to me like almost like Cornet is going round him.
Well, it did look like he was going round
him. And then, to be fair, we all expected to see the goal bulge, the net bulge. It was only the ironic cheers that we were like, Jesus.
He ran out of space.
But he ran out of space. But that was the only real. It was like a double mistake because they couldn't reset themselves properly. But it was brilliant from Patterson. But apart from that, I never really felt too worried. The set pieces, wasn't really worried about at all. I mean, Begovic, as I said, he sort of gets under them, and there was one late on where Declan Rice, he headers it back, and I don't understand why he doesn't head it towards goal. I think we had plays on the line, but I think it would have been a case of if
we've had to deal with it.
They've had to dealt with it. There's so many of them. Sometimes that can make it worse. But set pieces, I felt fine. So I thought we were pretty much in control last. You're dying for the referee to blow his whistle because you just want that first win because you know what it means. But I thought, without making loads of chances, I mean, their goalies only had to make one save in the entire game.
True.
So it makes it look like they've again, if you watch the highlights, it makes it look like they've been dominant, but they haven't really done anything though. Really.
They had 4 shots on target, didn't they? We had 2. That's it. I think they had ended up with 14. Yeah, we'll have a look at the stats now. Here's the stats for the game. So, 7 shots to 14, 2 on target for Everton, 4 for them. No big chances each. 54% possession for Everton, 46 West Ham, 460 passes. So Everton winning the possession. But of those 14 shots, 7 were blocked. So they weren't even real attempts at goal anyway. as such. In terms, what I mean by that is they were shots that were blocked close in terms of.
Well, he had 4 shots on target, 4 shots off target.
That's it. So the others were
the other 6 were blocked.
Yeah, were blocked, so they further out. So
which is something we've become very good at as well.
Yeah, but that's
players getting the body in the way.
And some of them, don't forget, are blocks on the edge of the box, so the ball, could be going anywhere. So
and they've had 14 corners, which we've dealt with as well.
Yeah. Well, Everton's record is they faced 66 corners and conceded once, which was at Brentford, which was a flick on one, and we should have dealt with it. Patterson and Iwobi should have really dealt with that. So that was good. That's been a bit, massive. You've got to give praise to Ashley Cole, who's in charge of them now, in terms of, last season, for a long time, a corner felt like a goal, didn't it? Certainly under Benitez, it felt like a goal. No one was happy with the zonal. And even under Frank Lampard, we let a few in. So that's been much better. We're piss poor at the other end of corners.
The quality of the set pieces has been real. It's the delivery. It's just really...
But we don't even...
Inconsistent.
Yeah, but even when it's in, sometimes they're in good areas. We don't seem to win the first ball. It's like...
But I think that's because of the inconsistency of the set pieces,
Maybe,
though. Yeah. If you start hitting an area and getting more and more...
better runs, don't you, and stuff. So, but that, we've the first thing you do, like anything, is you sort the defence out. You sort the defensive side of it, and you give yourself a chance then, and that's what Everton are doing. Everton have... It's great, and as fans we want to see 3s and 4s and all that, but when you're trying to turn a team round, which is what Frank Lampard and his staff are trying to do. Carlo Ancelotti did this. Stop letting goals in, and he got a chance of winning games. Yeah. And that's what Frank Lampard and they focused on, and we've stopped conceding goals off set plays, which is great. When you've done that, can you nick it at the other end? And if you do that, it's the old, if you get a 0-0, you've got a point, haven't you? And as you don't want to carry on like that. You want to progress and be able to take games away from teams. But we definitely have to improve in the final third. We definitely have to improve off set pieces offensively. It's not good enough.
Yeah, because in a game like that could be the difference between winning a game or even losing a game.
It was last year with them.
Yeah, that can be the difference. You get a decent set piece and you've got big lads in there, you get that 1-0 and suddenly they're chasing the game, they've got to open the game up. Yesterday for me was just like obviously the goal was a bit of magic for the finish, but there's so many tight games in the Premier League that are decided by the first goal coming from a set piece, and we've got to get better at that.
Frank Lampard said we're giving too many corners.
Yeah, he did. We are.
You've got to look at that, because we're giving too many. Because you're putting yourself under pressure, aren't you? All teams can't be having 14 corners. I know sometimes you can't help it. You're getting a block and it loops out for a corner, but are you losing possession?
That comes from not dealing with the cross higher up, maybe, and allowing the cross to come in, and then we're dealing with it. We've got the kinds of players now who put blocks in, we'll put tackles in. You want to have better possession, so they're not getting into those areas. Of course, teams will get corners, but right down 14 corners. That's not
chances, aren't
that can't be allowed every single week.
No,
you can't be going, well, we're going to defend them, we're going to defend
because you're never going to get through games.
No, of course you're not.
It's just law of averages.
We showed that against Brentford.
Yeah, exactly.
At the end of the day, it was gonna tell.
And that's what. But these are all factors that you can. And the manager, to be fair, the manager is saying things we're seeing as well. I always think that's generally a good sign. I think if you as a fan base are going, this needs to be, and then you hear the manager going, you have to improve that. You feel more comforted because you're going, well, yeah, he can actually see what we're seeing, can't you? And listen, like you said, they had sporadic moments. You've got quality, so you think we've got to make sure we try to keep this tight. Yeah. And we got over the line, and it was the 5 minutes felt like ages. Michael Oliver was poor, but that's no surprise. The linesmen were poor, that's no surprise. And the sooner we had a chat around me, the sooner that the VAR offsides come in and take it off lines, because they're useless. Let's be honest. The better. Take everything off them, the garbage.
They don't even see far throws.
No, they're pathetic, mate. One got in the way of Iwobi keeping the ball in. He did keep it in, and then he put his flag up and gave a throw in, and he was in the way, which would have seen that Iwobi would have been comfortable. He tried to make sure he didn't. I'd have just gone through the lines. And Well, he shouldn't be in the way. You know, the fella over in the corner in the first half, was it Damari Great done the track back and left the fella just sweeped his legs. He waited like that, the lines, and then the ref gave the free kick, and he just stood with his flag. It was right in front of him. Legs just taken. You know, what happened to the old exaggerated flag? Where's that gone? Let's be honest, that's the most entertaining they were.
Bring it back.
But take as much stuff off them as possible because they're garbage. But Michael Oliver was either had a really bad day at the office, like a really, really bad day. Booked Conor Cody for nothing, which for me wasn't a booking. It was on the halfway line, but fine if you're booking him. Then Kurt Zuma then planted Neal Maupay. Should have put him into next week and he just gave a free kick. Paqueta had done 4 fouls and got away with loads. But you know, you've got to be consistent, and he either had a bad day or this Geordie mate had got into him about not giving Everton anything. He is obviously a wearer of a Newcastle shirt, and they don't
That
like
is
it.
very true. That is very true. So, there you go. We're going to continue this over.
But can I say, just
on,
very
say
quickly,
it.
West Ham will be fine. Their fans,
Yeah.
seen some of their fans worrying about Relic. They're not going in. Moyes will sort them out, no problem. No problem. Same as we'll be sound as
There
well.
you go. We're going to continue this over on Toffee TV Premiere because we're doing it live. So there you go. So if you're watching us live, stick with us. We'll be continuing this over with this. There you go. Yeah, international break now. So quite a couple of weeks to
Enjoy the win.
enjoy the win. There you go. Make sure to give this video a like. Subscribe if you haven't already, and if you want more great videos, daily live videos, join us over on Toffee TV Premiere. The link is in the description, and the QR code will be on the screen in a moment. See you later.